There, obviously, to look at a new development, a very exciting development just outside Milton Keynes, which is going to be homes for very many people. And yes, there was a protest there. And to some extent, that draws out quite an important discussion that we have to have as a country. Because we passed a budget in the autumn of last year that had to do two things. The first was to stabilise and balance the books, the economy. And the second was to invest in things like our NHS and in housing. And we're seeing some early figures that are welcome. Obviously, the interest rates were cut for the third time since we've been in government last week. We've had growth figures today coming out showing growth in the economy, small but important steps. And of course, that means that mortgages will go down, and also NHS figures that show that waiting lists are now down to the lowest level for 2 years in the 6 or 7 months that we've had to work on that. That is a really welcome first set of steps. We need to go much further. But in order to balance the books, we had to take tough but right decisions on national insurance contributions and ending the tax break for farmers. And these are political choices, but what you can't have is interest rates coming down, the growth we need in the economy, your waiting list coming down, and maintain the tax break for farmers. And people watching this will understand that that is a choice. They will know which they would prefer. Do they prefer their waiting list to come down? Do they want their mortgages to come down, the economy to start working for everyone? That's what we're trying to achieve. Or do we want to keep a tax break for farmers? But you can't have both. So we've made a political choice, and the indicators coming through are welcome, but obviously we've got a lot more to do.
We are all acutely aware of the sacrifices that the Ukrainian people have been making. Is it remotely reasonable that the new American president is negotiating away Ukrainian land independently with Putin?
Let me start with the sacrifices, because there have been huge sacrifices across Ukraine, on the front line, of course, but also within the civilian population. I've been to Kyiv twice since the conflict's been on. I've seen it for myself. And last time I was in a burns hospital where some of those on the front line were being treated for very, very serious injury. They survived, but life-changing injuries. But nobody wants the conflict to continue. And Ukrainians, more than anybody, want the conflict to end. But we must make sure that Ukraine is at the heart of this. There can't be any negotiations about Ukraine without Ukraine being at the heart of it. And it's really important that Ukraine is in the strongest possible position, whether that's in discussions or whether it's continued fighting, which is why I've been arguing since I've been Prime Minister that we need to ramp up the money, the capability and the training that we're putting into Ukraine. And we're delivering even more of that this year than we were last year. I think it's really important, strongest possible position for Ukraine. But this has to be done with Ukraine. And that's the discussion I had with President Zelensky when I was over there just 2 or 3 weeks ago.
It's now clear that your chancellor misled everybody about how long she was at the Bank of England. Are you comfortable that she's exaggerated her relevant experience?
I mean, Rachel Reeves has dealt with any issues that arise. She delivered a really important budget for the country that balanced the books, gave us stability, that is beginning to see those interest rates come down, those mortgages coming down as a result, beginning to see some of the growth we need. And she's determined that we go further with that. So she can deal with the issues that arise out of this report many years ago. What I'm concerned with, what she's concerned with, what we get up every day to do, is to make sure that this economy in our country, which was badly damaged under the last government, is revived, we have growth, and that is felt in the pockets of working people across the country because they feel better off.